Hey everybody, Matthew here once again, and I've got a new deck profile for you guys to show you, and it's for my Regigigas deck. This is another single prize deck. I believe the first one I showed off was the Torterra one a few weeks ago, and this one doesn't revolve around stage 2s. It's a little faster to set up, mainly because all the Pokemon in here are basic. But it has its own quirks, which I will get into. But to really understand, we first need to take a look at the star of this deck himself, Regigigas. We're playing this is the Regigigas from, I believe, this Astral Radiance. I had to think about that one for a moment. So this is a basic Pokemon. It's colorless. It has 150 hit points. And its main attack is Gigaton Break, 5 colorless energy for 150 damage, and if your opponent's active Pokemon is a Pokemon VMAX, the attack does 150 more. Now, 5 energy is a lot to build up. It can take a lot of turns to power that up. That's where the ability comes in. The ability Regigigas has is Ancient Wisdom. This allows you to attach up to 3 energy cards from your discard pile to any one of your Pokemon. Doesn't matter if they're on the bench or they're active or whatever. There is a catch though, and that is you have to also have Regirock, Regice, Registeel, Regieleki, and Regidrago in play to use this ability. So, in this deck, spoiler alert, we're going to be playing 2 copies of each of those. So, as you can see, there's 2 copies of Regigigas, and of course, 2 copies of the others. You've got Regirock here, which is a fighting type, 2 copies of him. This is the Astral Radiance one. Most of these are from Astral Radiance, with one exception, which I will get into. The Regice, also from Astral Radiance. The Registeel, from Astral Radiance. Now you can see they all have different types. You can start to see that all these have different types, and that's kind of gets into one of the strengths of this deck, is that with all these different types, and Ancient Wisdom's ability to attach energy to any of your Pokemon, and it doesn't care what kinds or whether they're basic or special, we're going to take advantage of that and use it to exploit whatever weaknesses the opponents have. The Regidrago is also from Astral Radiance. And finally, the Regieleki. The only one not from Astral Radiance. This is the one from Evolving Skies. And we play this one because of its attacks. Its main attack that's worth mentioning is Terra Spark, 2 lightning and a colorless for 120 damage. You do discard all the lightning energy from this Pokemon, but the attack also does 40 damage to 2 of your opponent's benched. And I'll cover the other attacks in a moment here, but this is the main reason we play this one is because of Palkia V-Star. It's a big deck in the format right now, and this is the main way of dealing with him. It'll exploit his lightning weakness. We also have, and of course, Regirock being a fighting type, can exploit the weakness of Arceus V-Star. Registeel being a metal type will exploit the weaknesses of Pokemon like Mew VMAX, or at least I think it's Mew VMAX. It's one of them that's, well, there's Ice Rider Calyrex that's weak to metal, that's still kind of played a little bit here and there. And you also have Regice, whose Blizzard Bind isn't the most powerful of these, but it also can prevent your opponent's Pokemon from attacking if they're a Pokemon V. And there's also Regidrago, which is a good Pokemon to start with, because if it's active on your turn, you're able to draw cards until you have 4 cards in your hand. And its main attack, 160, is great for taking out almost any other single prize Pokemon. So, yeah, 2 of each of the 6 Regis, and that pretty much makes up all the Pokemon from this deck. You could play a couple of some of the other specific ones depending on what's popular in your area. Like you may want to play 3 Regieleki if Palkia is especially popular. But in this profile, I've got 2 of each. And one other thing worth mentioning, the Regirock, Regice, and Registeel are also pretty good starters if you're going second. They all have an attack called Regigate, which for 1 colorless allows you to search for a basic Pokemon, put it onto your bench. So these 3 can search out all the Pokemon we've got in the deck. And so that about does it for the Pokemon. I know that was a little bit of long-winded and all over the place, but you have to understand the Pokemon in order to understand how this deck works. So getting into the supporters, we've got a lot of the standard ones. 4 copies of Professor's Research. We need to be able to draw cards to get all of our Pokemon into play. Cynthia's Ambition, another way of drawing cards. It draws until you have 5 in your hand, but if any of your Pokemon were knocked out, you draw until you have 8 in your hand. Very good in this deck since all of our Pokemon are single prize. A couple of Marnie to disrupt our opponent's hand and as another way of drawing cards. And the final supporter is, of course, Boss's Orders. You need to be able to switch out the active to exploit weaknesses on our opponents, so this will help us do that. So, now onto the items. There's going to be plenty of Pokemon search, as you might imagine. 4 Quick Balls are a must. We got 3 Ultra Balls. I almost said 4 there, but I suppose you could put 4 in if you wanted. Maybe take something out. But both of these allow you to search up a Pokemon, but you have to discard cards, which does come in handy because if you remember, Regigigas' ability attaches energy cards from the discard pile, so this can get energy into your discard pile pretty quickly, while also getting your Pokemon out. Speaking of getting your Pokemon out, Hisuian Heavy Ball. This one's a bit of an odd card, but it allows you to look at your prizes, and you can reveal a basic Pokemon you find there to put in your hand and replace this with it. Sometimes your Pokemon may be stuck in your prizes. This can help you get out your Pokemon in those situations. Other items in this deck include 2 copies of Energy Loto. Another spoiler, there's a lot of special energy in this deck, and this is really the only good way of searching out special energies. Also got 4 copies of Scoop Up Net. This is really the best way of retreating, since all the Pokemon are non-Pokemon V. This is a good way to retreat them. It's also helpful to make sure the right Pokemon you need is active. And all the Regi Pokemon, they have pretty high retreat costs. So this is pretty helpful in those to get them out of the active if you need to. And so also because we're reliant on very specific Pokemon to be in play, 3 copies of Ordinary Rod to ensure we get those Pokemon back to the deck to grab them later. Last item, Choice Belt. This is helpful if you need to hit specific hit point numbers to be able to ensure that you can get knockouts. Because, for example, with Regieleki, its Terra Spark only does 120. With a Choice Belt attached, it will do 150. And because Palkia V-Star is weak to lightning, it will do 300, which is enough to take a 1-hit knockout on that. And so, 2 copies of that. Finally, there's a couple of stadiums. 3 copies of Stormy Mountains. And this allows us to search once per turn, search for a basic lightning or a basic dragon Pokemon. So this is another way of ensuring that you get all your pieces out so that Regigigas can activate Ancient Wisdom as early as the 2nd turn. One other stadium we've got, One Path to the Peak. You've got Duraludon, one of the weaknesses of this deck is Duraludon VMAX here, which you prevent damage. Its ability prevents any damage done to it if your Pokemon have special energy attached to it, and because this deck only plays special energy, you need something to get around it. So that's why there's one path to the peak in here. So let's get into those special energies. 4 copies of Aurora Energy. This is an energy that can provide energy of any type, but only one at a time. The catch is you have to discard a card from your hand when you attach it from your hand to a Pokemon. But when you attach it to your Pokemon from the discard pile with Regigigas' ability, you basically ignore that effect. So that makes it a little better in this deck. Other energies include Capture Energy, which is a colorless energy that when you attach from your hand, you get to search your deck for a basic Pokemon to put on your bench. It's another way of ensuring that you get all the Pokemon you need out. 3 copies of Speed Lightning Energy. And this ensures that you have plenty of energy for Regieleki, which is the main one you'll want to deal with Palkia, who is again a big deck, and also the ability to draw 2 when you attach it from the hand is sometimes nice. 2 powerful colorless energy, really to help another way of boosting Regigigas' damage if it happens to be your active Pokemon. And finally, 2 copies of Twin Energy, again, really helping Regigigas get set up with its attack much more quickly. I've already talked about one problem this deck runs into, and that's Duraludon VMAX, with the ability to shut down your attackers if they have special energy attached to them. And really the main way to deal with it is with the one path to the peak, like I just said. Of course, you could play a few more copies of it in case it's popular in your area, but one other card that you'll want to watch out for is Collapse Stadium. This is a stadium that forces both players to have basically a bench size of 4. You need all 5 of your Pokemon for Regigigas to do his thing, so that's why there are 4 stadiums in this deck, just to make sure that you have a way of bouncing this stadium off the board. Another card I kind of want to mention before I go is Thornton. This is a new card from Lost Origin. It says you choose a basic Pokemon in your discard pile and switch it with one of your basic Pokemon in play. And any attached cards, damage counters, special conditions, turns in play, and other effects remain on the new Pokemon. So this is another way of ensuring you have the right Pokemon in play to attack when you need it. It's another way of helping you get Regigigas and all his friends into play a little more easily, which I might try to put 1 or 2 copies in this deck once I figure out what to take out. But with that being said, that does it for this deck profile. Thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed this, please be sure to give a like and leave a comment. And if you have any questions about this deck profile or any other suggestions you have to make the deck better, and also subscribe to the channel to make sure you never miss another deck profile or anything else that I do on this channel. I'll see you guys next time, and remember, good luck, have fun, and keep well.